paid $50,000 to erase that video, and it still put him in federal prison. Sean Combs is sitting in a federal prison right now, serving a 50-month sentence handed down on October 3rd, 2025. That sentence started with 40 seconds of hotel surveillance footage filmed on March 5th, 2016. For 8 years, that footage was supposed to be gone. He paid for it, he thought he owned it, and by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly who had that video, why they kept it, and how 40 seconds of tape brought down one of the most powerful empires in the history of hip-hop. The night. March 5th, 2016, Century City, Los Angeles, the InterContinental Hotel. Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs had been together for almost 10 years at that point. That night, something happened in the hallway near the elevator bank of that hotel that would not become public knowledge for 8 full years. The hotel surveillance cameras recorded everything, multiple angles, from the moment Combs came around that corner to the moment he grabbed Cassie, threw her to the ground, kicked her, and then dragged her down that hallway. All of it, on camera, in a hotel that had security footage running around the clock. And somebody at that hotel knew exactly what they had. His name was Eddie Garcia. He was a security guard at the InterContinental. He saw the footage. He knew what it showed. And at some point, Sean Combs came to him directly. According to testimony delivered at the federal trial in June 2025, Combs told Garcia the video had to be the only copy. He said it could ruin him if it ever got out. And then Combs paid $50,000 to the hotel for what he believed was the only copy of that surveillance footage. $50,000 to make 40 seconds disappear. Now, here's what most people do not understand about how power moves in hip-hop. And this is the part that actually matters. When you are worth $1 billion in this industry, money is not just currency. Money is a cleanup tool. For decades, powerful men at the top of this business use money the exact same way. A situation happens, a check gets written, the situation goes away, no police report, no public story, no record of anything, just silence. And for most of those men, that system worked flawlessly because the people on the receiving end of those checks had no power to say no. No platform, no lawyer, no protection. The money landed, and the story was buried. That system is older than hip-hop, and it worked so well for so long that the men who used it stopped thinking about the risk. They started treating it like a guarantee. That is exactly what Sean Combs believed he was doing on March 5th, 2016. He thought he was buying silence. He thought $50,000 was the price of that footage. He thought the hotel took his money, and the problem was solved forever. But hotel surveillance footage does not live in one place. It does not sit in a single cabinet waiting for someone to hand it over and walk away. Digital footage lives on servers, on backups, in systems that one security guard does not control entirely on his own. Eddie Garcia took that money, but someone kept a copy. And what Combs did not know that night in March 2016 was that the same footage he paid to erase was about to become the centerpiece of a federal criminal case against him. Here is Diddy in his own words, the moment he could no longer deny what the camera had already captured.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
He recorded that apology on May 19th, 2024, 8 years after that footage was filmed. The man who paid $50,000 to make a video disappear sat down in front of his own camera and confirmed every single word of it was real. But what made him record that apology in the first place? And who actually had that footage all those years? And how did it end up on CNN for the entire world to see? That answer starts with a lawsuit that was filed and settled in less than 24 hours. He recorded the lawsuit. November 16th, 2023, United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Manhattan. Cassie Ventura filed a 35-page federal civil complaint against Sean Combs. 35 pages detailing years of physical abuse, rape, coercion, and one specific incident at a hotel in Century City, Los Angeles in March 2016, where she said he punched her and gave her a black eye, where she said he threw glass vases at her in the hallway, where she said hotel security staff saw the footage and urged her to leave in a cab because they had already watched it. She named the hotel. She named the incident. She described the footage in detail inside that 35-page complaint. And Sean Combs settled the lawsuit the very next day. Not a week later, not after a legal battle, the next day. November 17th, 2023. 24 hours after that complaint hit the public record, the lawsuit was gone for $20 million. Cassie testified to that number herself during the federal trial. $20 million to make a civil lawsuit disappear. He admitted no wrongdoing. His attorney called it an amicable resolution, and the world moved on. But here's what most people do not understand about how civil lawsuits actually work in this country. And this is the part that changes everything. When a civil lawsuit is settled, the case disappears from active court proceedings. But the complaint itself, every word of it, stays on the public record forever. It was filed. It exists. Any journalist, any investigator, any federal agent with a case number and an internet connection can read every single word of what Cassie Ventura put into that document on November 16th, 2023. And that complaint named the hotel. It named the incident. It described the footage in specific detail. That meant the footage existed. The complaint proved it. And anyone who wanted to find it now knew exactly where to look. CNN looked. On May 17, 2024, 5 months after that lawsuit was filed and settled, CNN published the surveillance footage from the InterContinental Hotel in Century City. Multiple angles, dated March 5, 2016, showing Sean Combs grab Cassie Ventura, throw her to the ground, kick her, drag her down the hallway, exactly as she described in her complaint filed 6 months earlier. The footage he paid $50,000 to erase was now on every screen in America. And here is what matters about what happened next. Cassie did not go on television. She did not call a press conference. She did not give an interview to any of the networks that were calling her. She posted one statement on her verified Instagram account. And in that statement, she said everything that needed to be said.
Domestic violence is the issue. It broke me down to someone I never thought I would become. That woman was with Sean Combs for 10 years. She filed a lawsuit. He paid $20 million to make it go away in 24 hours. And then the footage came out anyway. And when it did, she did not speak to the press. She spoke to everyone who was still living in the same fear she had lived in. That Instagram post went live on May 23rd, 2024, 6 days after the footage dropped. And the moment it went live, the federal government was already moving. Because what Cassie described in that 35-page complaint was not just a civil matter anymore. It was a pattern. And the United States government had a name for what that pattern looked like inside the law. What happened next, inside the federal system, is something most people still do not fully understand. And understanding it is the only way to understand how a hotel video filmed in 2016 became the foundation of a federal criminal indictment in 2024.
The fall. On March 25th, 2024, federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations hit 2 properties simultaneously. His estate in Los Angeles, his mansion in Miami, both at the same time. Coordinated military-level execution. They were not there to ask questions. They were there to collect evidence that had already been described in federal search warrant applications that a judge had already signed off on. Sean Combs was not home when they arrived in Los Angeles. He was in another country. He came back, and on September 16th, 2024, United States federal agents arrested Sean Combs at a hotel in New York City. He was taken into custody and charged under case number 1:24-CR-00542 in the Southern District of New York. 3 counts: sex trafficking by force, transportation to engage in prostitution, racketeering conspiracy. He pleaded not guilty to every charge. His legal team called it a witch hunt. They said the government was misrepresenting a private lifestyle as a criminal enterprise. They asked for bail multiple times. The judge said no every time. On May 5th, 2025, the trial began. 7 weeks. Inside the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan, Cassie Ventura took the stand for 4 days. The hotel surveillance footage, the same footage he paid $50,000 to erase in 2016, was played in open court for the jury multiple times. His defense team tried to have it excluded from evidence. The judge allowed it in, and the jury watched it. On July 2nd, 2025, the verdict came in. Not guilty on racketeering conspiracy, not guilty on sex trafficking, guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. A split verdict that shocked both sides of the courtroom. And then came October 3rd, 2025, sentencing day. Sean Combs stood before Judge Aaron Subramanian in federal court in Manhattan. The prosecution wanted 11 years. The defense wanted 14 months. The judge gave him 50 months, 4 years and 2 months, in a federal prison. At FC1 Fort Dix in New Jersey, the man who built Bad Boy Records from nothing in 1993, who signed Biggie Smalls, who turned a label into a cultural institution, who built a clothing line called Sean John, who partnered with Ciroc Vodka and built a spirits empire, who launched Revolt TV, who was estimated to be worth close to $1 billion at his peak, is now sitting in a federal prison in New Jersey. And every single business he built severed ties with him before he ever walked into that courtroom. Now here is my opinion, and I want you to really think about this. This is not just a story about Sean Combs. This is a story about what happens when the system that powerful men in hip-hop built to protect themselves stops working. For 30 years, money was the solution to every problem in this industry. A situation happened, a check was written, the problem disappeared. That system worked so well that the men who used it believed it was permanent. They stopped seeing the risk. They started treating silence as something you could just purchase whenever you needed it. And what this story reveals about hip-hop culture is that the system was never as airtight as they believed, because silence requires every single person who knows something to stay quiet forever. And that is not something money can actually guarantee. Hotel footage lives on servers. Servers have backups. Backups have copies. And all it takes is one person, one journalist,
one federal agent with a case number to find the one copy that the check did not reach. This is not just Diddy's story. This is the story of every powerful man in this industry who believed that money made him untouchable. And it is a warning that the footage always exists somewhere. Here is the victim's attorney, outside the federal courthouse, on the day Sean Combs was sentenced.
On March 25th, 2024.
But on the other hand, he has to pay the price for what he did.
He has to pay the price for what he did. 7 words, standing on the steps of a federal courthouse, surrounded by microphones on behalf of every person who came forward. That sentence did not take 11 years to land. It did not take the racketeering conviction. It took one woman, one lawsuit, one 35-page complaint that put a specific hotel and a specific incident on the public record, and a copy of a video that survived because $50,000 was not enough to reach every server in that building. What does it say about the culture that it took a surveillance camera to make the world believe what she had been saying for years? On October 3rd, 2025, a federal judge sentenced Sean Combs to 50 months in a United States federal prison for transportation to engage in prostitution. But here's the truth that no sentence can fully capture. Cassie Ventura spent 10 years inside that relationship. She filed a lawsuit. He paid $20 million to make it disappear in 24 hours. She posted one Instagram statement that broke the internet. She took the witness stand for 4 days while 8 months pregnant. And she did all of that without ever once knowing for certain that the world would believe her. She did not need the verdict to tell her what happened in that hallway on March 5th, 2016. She already knew. She lived it. The question I want to leave you with today is this. If that surveillance camera had not been running that night, if those servers had been wiped clean, if the $50,000 had reached every single copy of that footage, would any of this have happened? And if the answer is no, what does that tell you about how many stories just like this one are still out there in hotels and buildings and systems all across this industry, waiting for the one copy that the money did not reach?